Yay, look at that. It's working. Oh, impressive. Thanks, next door. Oh, you found a new toy to fuck around with at the back. Work. Yeah. Hello, my name is Roger. Today we're here to discuss why we are targets of cybercrime and what we can do about it. I'm now just going to say hello to everybody. I'm going to move everybody onto the slide deck and we'll go from there. Okay. Here we go. Today's webinar, why we are targets of cybercrime and what can we do about it. My name is Roger Smith. I'm a #1 Amazon author on cybercrime. I do a lot of speaking on cybercrime. I'm a trainer. I do a regular blog, and digital crime is something that I'm really interested in. I've had a large number of articles published all over the world, and I've got a number of books out. And if you stay connected for the rest of the time, you get the opportunity to actually get one of my books for free. Okay, if we are walking down the street and someone mugs us, for instance, who are we going to call? Well, most people will call the police. If we're going to have our car stolen, who are we going to call? Again, once again, the police. See someone having been beaten up, who are we going to call? The police. In today's digital world, that is a problem, because if something happens in the digital world that is criminal related, who are we going to call? We're going to call our ISP, we're going to call our Member of Parliament, we're going to call the police, high-tech crime unit, any of the above, all of the above, or none of them. This is the problem with digital crime. There's no boundaries. In Australia, I can rob from anywhere else in the world. And there's also no repercussions. How often do you hear of a cybercrime person being prosecuted? Every now and then you'll see it, but the number of cyber criminals that are out there, you are talking about the 0.001% of the people who are actually in the criminal enterprise who are getting caught. So there's no repercussions for what they're doing. And this makes it very difficult for us to understand why we should now take a focus on we need to protect ourselves, not the other way around, not someone else has to protect me, but I have to protect myself. So there's a big disconnect between what happens in the big world and what happens in the digital world. And the bad guys on the digital world are getting smarter. They are getting more persistent, and they know more about computers and the digital world than we will ever know. And we've always got to remember this, because their business model relies on them understanding the technology that we use and finding loopholes in the use of it. So it makes it very important that we look at how we're going to protect ourselves. The first weapon of choice for a digital criminal is malware. And that includes more and more sophisticated ways of delivering malware to us. So whether it's through spam, phishing attacks, email, infected websites, compromised search. All of these things are really important to them because it allows them access to us. But the other thing about the digital criminal is they are very sophisticated. They use sophisticated command and control systems and communication systems that are encrypted and are very hard to break. And this, again, is something that we all forget. But on top of that, because they are a business entity, their use of technology is the same as our use of technology. So they use cloud space. They use supercomputer cycles. They pay for it with stolen credit cards. So we are now in a situation where they use everything that we do for our business, but they use it to focus their criminal activities. And this makes it very, very hard for us to understand why they are doing what they do. But on top of that, the only target is how much money they're going to get out of it. And it all comes back to money. And I'll talk about other things as well, but they all come back to money. The digital criminal is also interested in changing physical money that we get, that we use, US dollars, Australian dollars, pesos, Canadian pounds, all of that sort of thing, into bitcoins. Now, Bitcoin is a finite monetary component. And because it is finite, like the US, if they need more money, they print more money. Well, because it's a finite, when Bitcoin first came out, it was pegged at one Bitcoin equaled $1. About 2 years ago, one Bitcoin equaled $1,500 because the monetary value of what is going on had changed. But the other things about the digital criminal is we forget how sophisticated an attack can be, because they can use anything that we connect to our device to access the system. So in a couple of years ago, there was a big raid, criminal raid on Las Vegas, to a level where they actually salted the car parks with USB sticks, and people would pick them up, plug them into computers, and get compromised. They were actually originally designed so people would pick them up and take them to the reception and say, I found this out in the car park, don't know who it belongs to, maybe you can find out. And what they would do is then plug it into the computer and get infected by it. But they also go that big step further. We've all seen CDs on magazines in the newsagent. Well, not only do they swap them out with ones that they've created, but they infect the distribution component, and literally the CDs come out and they are infected with malware. So again, they're showing how intelligent and how clever they can be. But one of the things that people forget is everybody is a target. If you're connected to the digital world, then you are a target. It doesn't matter how you connect, whether you're going into an internet cafe and just using your email, or if you're using a smart device, or if you're using a full-blown network that allows access to the digital world. And the digital world doesn't just mean the internet. It has anything to do with the digital world at all. So GPS is part of the digital environment that we all keep an eye on. So let's just talk about the cyber criminals themselves. Cyber criminals come in three varieties. There are the script kiddies. And the script kiddies are a large number of people between the ages of 12 and 24. And their whole role in life is, how does this work? If I do this, what are the repercussions? But they are also being supported by the full-blown hackers who are part of criminal enterprises who sell them the products to do what they want to do. If they want to set up a system where they can scan the internet and see if they can find exploits and all that sort of stuff, then you can buy something from the dark web and use it. what the script kiddies do not understand is those things that they've bought from the cybercrime gangs actually feed all that information back to themselves. So they literally become lots and lots of pawns for the main people. The second thing that the cyber criminals come in is the hacktivists. And we saw this really recently in 2013 with the Arab Spring. And the hacktivists were using the digital world to get their message out, to communicate, to understand and try to compromise what was going on. And again, it's a group of people who are using not only the cyber criminal gangs, but they're also writing their own stuff. And then we've got the true hackers. And the true hackers are either part of the criminal gangs or they're individuals or groups of people like Anonymous. And these are the really, really sophisticated people who are targeting specific targets to get into. So if we've got those type of criminals all running around, why do we constantly say and think that the cyber criminal will not affect us? In most cases, people turn around and go, oh, yeah, I'm not a target of cybercrime. Well, we often get three quotes. It will not happen to me, or it will not happen to us. If you are connected to the digital world, then you are a target. And it doesn't matter what you say and how you say it, you are a target. Because of the automated systems that are run by the script kiddies are targeting everybody who's connected to the internet. But there's a large number of people who said we are not targets, and these are some of them. This is just from 2015. Because these people thought, or these organisations thought, they were not going to be targeted. And one of the biggest ones and one of the most recognisable ones was Sony. And Sony, when they were attacked, was the second time they've had a major hack. The first was on the PlayStation network, the second one was on their studios. Again, people do not think that they are going to be a target, so they don't do anything about it. The second is we are too small to be a target. Small businesses are notoriously good at saying we are too small to be a target. Well, I hate to tell you this, but there's no such thing. Because once again, if you are connected to the internet and connected to the digital world, the script kiddies are targeting you because they're targeting everybody who is connected. And there's a large number of small businesses who quite happily say, no, we'll never get attacked. We are too small. Why would someone attack us? Talk about why they would attack you later. But what happens is if you are attacked and you are compromised, 70% of businesses who are compromised will not recover. So they usually shut up shop. And this is why the statistics are so airy-fairy, is because we never get a running number of the number of people who are being attacked or closing down businesses or that type of thing. And the third one, and the most arrogant one, is we have nothing worth stealing. Yes, you have. Everything you have that is connected to the digital world has some monetary value. Whether it's your email address, maybe it's your computer itself, maybe it's your workload, maybe it's your cloud technology component, but every one of those has a monetary value that the cyber criminal is quite happily after. And from credit card details where they can get $20 to $50, all the way up to full banking account details so that they can actually do other things as well. So, why do we do business in the digital world? Ever since it's been around, and ever since 2010, we've had this really catastrophic increase in the number of people who are using the digital world because there are a number of factors involved. Those include, it's so easy to use. It really is easy to use the digital world. You can go back down and buy a $100 tablet from Officeworks, plug it into a wireless network, and you're in the digital world. And you can do whatever you like there from there. So it's easy to use. It's also inexpensive to use because, as I said, I can go down to Officeworks and buy a $100 tablet. And that's going to allow me to access the digital world and do whatever I need to do. And that $100 tablet, I can run my business from. So it's inexpensive to use. And because it's inexpensive and it's easy, it now becomes very cost effective. And cost effective is really important because we don't want to spend thousands of dollars in purchasing hardware and software to make things work when we can pay a monthly amount and have it do the same thing. So it's cost effective. But one of the biggest things about the digital world, and one that we're pushed into all of the time, is we have an increased reach. We are no longer local. We no longer rely on people driving down my street to see who I am and what services I do. It's now global. I can do business with someone in Peru or Singapore or China, and they can do business with me. And that is what makes it so incredibly good for us. But what about larger organizations? And larger organizations really come into their fore when we're talking about what is happening and why it's happening and why we're using the digital world. Because larger organizations, and to a little extent some smaller organizations, use the digital world for brand management. And brand management is really important if you're a large organization, because you want to be able to keep your finger on the pulse of what people are talking about, why they're talking about your products and service, why they're talking about you. Are you being a corporate pain in the ass to other people, or are you helping as part of your corporate environment help the planet? These type of things makes your brand recognizable. And by making it recognizable, we then manage it to a level that we really want to manage it at. And then we have interaction with our clients and customers. We can tweet about what we're doing, or we can use Facebook and have a Facebook page and a Facebook environment, or we can have a LinkedIn company page, or we can have our own individual components. And these are really important to push our business forward and pushes the larger organizations forward as well. And one of the big things about the digital world, and one of the things that really has had an impact since 2013, is social media and social media marketing. More likes, more Facebook, more Twitters, more tweets. All of that information becomes something that we used to use local meetups and networking for. So we can use the digital world to get our message out to the general public. And that's what social media is all about. But the problem is the bad guys use the systems for the same reason. The same reason that makes it so efficient for us to use as a business is why the bad guys are using it. Because it's easy to use. They can have products created that are script kiddie. All he has to do is download it and install it on his PC. Or to the level of things like Kali, where you need to set up a virtual environment. But it's easy to use. It's inexpensive to use. They can target anybody, anytime, anywhere. As long as they are connected to the digital world, they can target you. And that is really, really important to that level. It's cost effective for them. There's a group in Russia that has a product that is valued at 4,000 euros. But with that 4,000 euros comes not only the application and all of the hacking tools that are required, but it has a help desk. So as long as you can speak Russian, they will help you. So it makes it very easy for them to use because it's cost effective and we can do whatever you like. They've also got guarantees. If you spend the 4,000 euros to buy this product, we guarantee that within 30 days you will make 10,000 euros. Now, there's not many businesses out there that can actually do that, but they can. It has a global reach. Again, Russians targeting us, US people targeting Chile. All of this makes it global. And we have the client interaction, going back to the help desk. The help desk says that I have bought my product, I have a key, I can talk to them because my script that I'm writing to target X is not working properly. How do I make it work? So client interaction is part of their deal as well. So with all of this going on, what the hell are the bad guys after? Well, I said earlier they're after money. But not only money. They're after access to money. They're after your credit card details. They're after your bank account details. Because they can then use that for other things. But one of the other things that people forget is they're after your trade secrets, your intellectual property, and your personal information. Because once again, it becomes a monetary value. Intellectual property, for instance, you just spend $1 million on R&D. You've now got a widget that you're now going to sell for $100, $50 of that is to cover the R&D. So you expect to get the R&D value back in the next 2 years. Great system, product, everything works. But if you've been compromised and someone steals that intellectual property, sells it to Mr. Chinese man over here in China for $10,000, he's now going to create your product at $20 a shot. You're not going to recover your R&D because people are now going to go to the cheapest place. And that's why we have to protect ourselves as much as possible on the digital world. But they're also after our technology. When it comes to protecting our systems, our technology is just as important as intellectual property in our finances. Because if they compromise your Wi-Fi, they have an access point that they can actually then attack other people, including you. If they compromise your router, they can compromise what's happening inside. And there's been a big hoo-ha in recent times about Juniper's network systems having a back door that people knew about. And you could go in that back door, set up a script in there that will capture all traffic going over all ports. So that you have a full list of what is happening. But the other things that they're after, the other things that really make it why they would go after you, because you have a reputation. Whether it's your own reputation of who I am and what I do, or it's your organization's reputation. Coca-Cola, Holden, Ford, all of these people have specific reputations that are on the internet. They're after that reputation because if they compromise your website, they can then catch all of the people coming to you because of your reputation. And those loyal customers won't be loyal for very long if they find out that every time they go to your website, they get compromised. Most people will run away a mile. But the other thing is you have access to people. You have access to your audience. You have access to your clients. And what that means is if I've got a computer that has been compromised in my office, and it's the accounting computer, for instance, what's to stop them getting in there and changing your invoices? Changing your invoices so it doesn't point to your bank account anymore, it points to their bank account. Not going to do anything else. Every time you send out an invoice, other people get it, they quite happily pay it into the bad guy's bank account. They quite happily siphon that off as fast as they can. So you now got a problem that you've invoiced someone, they've paid it, but they've paid it over here. And what are you going to do about that? So as you can see, we have a problem protecting ourselves from the digital world. So how are we going to make ourselves secure? Well, I'm not going to tell you that you need to spend lots and lots of money, because lots and lots of money is the second stage in what you need to do. But what I am going to do is tell you that you need to do a number of things. We have to stop thinking that we are too small. We have to stop thinking that we have nothing of value. And we have to stop thinking it will never happen to me. Because the moment you change that mindset, you then start doing something about it. So number one is stop thinking that you're not a target of cybercrime. You're not an individual who's going to be lucky enough never to be attacked. And a couple of years ago, it was all right if you got a virus because the virus was just annoying, you just rebuilt your computer, off you went. Today's viruses come through and they've been designed to do so much more. Things like Stuxnet. Stuxnet, which was created and used to target Iran's nuclear facilities. The trouble is, when it got out into the wild, people in the hacking community started pulling it apart and making it do what they wanted it to do. And in some cases, Stuxnet, or the equivalents of what's been created, are practically invisible. They're practically invisible to everything that you see that we use to detect them. And that's one of the reasons why we have to stop thinking we are too small. We have nothing worth stealing. It will never happen to me. Number two, fundamentals. So what are the fundamentals of digital security? Well, there's 5 of them. 5 fundamentals of digital security. Those 5 fundamentals: passwords, antivirus, patching, firewalls, back it up. So let's just take them apart. We all know passwords are a pain in the ass. We all have thousands of passwords. But passwords are literally our first line of defense. And until we have a better system of doing it, we're stuck with them. Yes, we have got biometrics coming through and we've got 2-factor authentication, but we still have a need for passwords. And that is what we have to remember as well. So passwords need to be unique. Every site you need to go to, they have to have a separate password that you can use. They have to be complex. Anything on the computer, on the keyboard, is fair game. If you go to sites that do not allow you to do capitals, letters, numbers, symbols, whatever, then the best thing you can do is not go to that site. But they also have to be more than 8 characters. And the reason why we're now starting to push more than 8 characters, because last year they came up with a SALT system, and a SALT is literally a file that has every complex password in it that goes up to 8 characters. So we need to have one that's more than 8 characters. The next one, antivirus. We all should have an antivirus system on all of our devices. Whether it's a mobile phone, maybe whether it's a laptop, whether it's a server, they all need antivirus of some sort. And it doesn't matter what operating system you're using, it still needs an antivirus. And everybody's going to come up and say, but Apple has never been targeted. Well, yes, they have. And last year, Apple was the largest targeted operating system on the planet. So don't come to me and say, we don't need an antivirus on Apple anymore, because you do. The next thing you need to worry about is patching. We need to patch it because operating systems, applications are created by humans who make mistakes. And patching is just fixing those mistakes. And because someone who created an application didn't understand how this run error was going to work, those things have to be fixed. And whether it's with the underlying computer code that needs to be rectified, or it is the actual operating system or application that needs to be rectified, those patches make sure that we are keeping up to date. We also need to have a firewall. And a firewall's role is to stop information coming from the digital world targeting your device. It allows connection from your device to the digital world, but it doesn't allow unsolicited traffic from the internet and the digital world to your device. And that's why we need it. Never turn it off. If you are connected to the digital world, you need that wall in place to protect you. And the last one, although it's not really a digital security component, I lump it in as very important because backing up is critical. You never know when you're going to drop your telephone in the toilet, or you're going to have your laptop stolen at the airport, or you're going to drop your laptop and it's broken, or even something basic, like you get a virus. And if you're in a situation like a client of ours was recently, who got attacked by the crypto virus, if they hadn't had an ongoing backup, they would really have had problems. And that is why it's so important that we have to have a backup of everything we do. And that includes your digital device. What would happen if you lost your phone's data and you just got a phone call from a number? Would you know who that number was? Most of us wouldn't, because like me, I work on Joe's calling, and that's really important as well. So those 5 fundamentals are really the best place you can start for your protection. So what's number 3? Well, number 3 is educate your people. And educating your people to this level means that you have to constantly educate them. You have to keep them informed. You have to get them to think digital security at all times. Because this, trust no one, is what is happening at the moment. So let's go back to education. Education literally is teaching people the fundamentals and all the variations of the fundamentals. And if you get the fundamentals right, then you can actually build. It's like putting down your foundations. The foundations for your security is on solid ground. And that can include passwords, because you know that people, when they log on to your practice system in your office, have got a complex password. And they've got a complex password that is no different, or is very different from everything else they use. So you have to educate people on why you do that. But trusting no one comes down to a other thing about the digital world. For some reason, in the digital world, we do not worry about how trustworthy someone is. Now, what I'm getting at here is, if you talk about meeting someone, for instance, I meet someone this morning, shook their hand, said, "Hi, how are you?" I got a feel for who they were by the body language, attitude, whatever was going on in that respect. In today's world and the digital world, we do not do that anymore. We rely on photographs. How many people have got a photo on their Facebook page that is more than 10 years old? Please put up your hands, because a lot of people have. And because the only thing that we have to worry about is our trust, we also rely on recommendations. But trusting no one also has other ramifications. Trusting no one means that if you have a requirement to be in constant contact with someone outside your network, then you need to make sure that that person is still the person that you actually organise to talk to. So if you get an unknown email from someone, the first thing that should be going through your head is, why did he send me that? You get a joke from someone who's never sent you a joke before. Trust no one. And the last one, and my favourite, is get paranoid. The digital world, yes, everybody is after you. And it doesn't matter where you go. If you go to a website to read an article, you get bombarded with pop-ups, and you get bombarded with fill in this and we'll send you other crap. And the first thing you should be doing is, no, I don't want that. So turn on your paranoid filter and make it work for you. And that is really, really important on how it should be. So, in conclusion, what are we going to do to protect ourselves so that we're not a target of cybercrime? Well, we have to stop thinking that it will never happen to me, we have nothing worth stealing, and we're too small to be a target. Blank. Because if we stop thinking about that, we then become more focused on protecting ourselves. The second thing is get the fundamentals correct. Do the foundation work so that anybody coming into your office starts at a specific level. They don't come in stupid when it comes to digital security. They come in at a level where everybody knows that they've got to have complex passwords, and they are kept in such a way that they are not hard to forget. And they have complex passwords that are more than 8 characters. And those firewalls and antivirus systems and backups are all in place because you never know what's going to happen. The third one is educate people, because although you've got a great foundation, you need to bring people up to the next level. And the next level is when they trust no one and they're paranoid about what's going on in the digital world. We recently had a client who literally changed CEOs. One guy quit and then a new one came in. What happened was that one of the girls in the office received an email that was addressed from the CEO. And what it said was, I need all the information out of the database on who we've got as clients, who they are, what they are, where they are. And this girl got the email and went, what would you want to know that? So she literally went and banged on his door and said, I just got an email from you. Is that right? And he went, oh, I didn't send you an email, and I would never ask you that information. And that's also a stipulation that you need to do. Because people, if they are told that there is no way that they're ever going to get an email from you asking for that information, the moment that information comes in, the paranoid filters go on, and everybody goes, oh, shit, that's not really who it said it is. And we then do something about it. Protecting ourselves, protecting our organisation. Very, very important. So what can we do about it? Well, I have a program called Buy Me Coffee. And what it is we sit down and talk. And yes, it's an expensive cup of coffee, but it takes an hour, and we go through everything that has something to do with your digital security. So whether you've got policies and procedures in place, what those policies and procedures are all about, what technologies you're deploying in your organisation, what is the next step to protect yourself? And all of this is what we discuss. So if you go to that link and fill in the form, then we will come and talk to you about what you need to do for your digital security. And no, we're not going to tell you to replace your $20,000 firewall with another $20,000 firewall because X is better than Y. We're just worried about you've got X. Let's make sure that X is working properly. The other thing is I have a free gift for you. If you go to this link in the bottom corner there and fill in your details, which is only first name and email address, that ebook will be sent to you. And that makes it a lot easier for you. And it is the basics of information. It is not an ebook. It is a full-blown book on how you protect your business and the basics of what you need to do properly. I have a second book out, which is a Cybercrime Occurring Places of Danger, which is a management guide to cybersecurity, and they are $61 if you want to buy it. If you want to keep in touch with us, well, please do. Contact us, send an email to support, and we'll quite happily answer you. Goes for a phone call as well. You can go to my website and fill in the form. But if you want to keep in touch, then follow us on social media. We have SME Security, which is on Twitter. We have LinkedIn, we have Google+, we have Facebook, and we have YouTube. And we constantly post in those environments about what is happening with the digital world, who's being hacked, who's doing something about it. And we are out there to keep people informed about what we're doing and what the digital world is doing, what the criminals are doing, what law enforcement is doing. And the last thing is we run these webinars 2 to 4 times per month. And you can always see them on Google Hangouts. You can always see them recorded on YouTube. I'd really like you if you came to these presentations. But if you can't make it, just go and have a look at the list that's on the bottom of our website. So thank you very much appreciated. So what I'm going to do, stop this. Are there any questions? Any questions about any of it? And if there's not, I am quite happily going to close everything down. So thank you very much appreciated.